Hi, I'm Todd.
And I'm his daughter, Victoria.
And welcome back to our channel.
Today we're going to be preparing for you a few different dishes. We're going to be doing our version of Pesto Trapanese, as well as some stuffed zucchinis as well.
It's delicious.
We'll show you our version, and it's pretty simple, but it's really good.
We try to keep all our recipes simple, actually.
Yeah, it's easier for us and for you as well.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go pick some fresh vegetables from our garden so we can cook with them.
Yeah, all right, let's go pick.
All right.
All right, so let's pick some zucchini. Look at these, they're beautiful.
Oh, they look really good.
Wow.
That was nice and easy.
I like that. The blooms are nice. You know what we should do, Dad?
What?
Is sometime we should make the stuffed zucchini blossoms for them. How many do you think we need?
Maybe 4.
Okay.
And while you're picking those, if you see behind us, this is actually a walnut tree. And that's what a walnut looks like before it's ripe. And that's actually a covering over the actual nut itself. And what happens is that that'll split open and the nut will fall, and then you will be able to collect the nuts and dry them out.
Yeah, they're kind of really neat.
Isn't that great?
When are they usually ready?
In the fall. I don't know what month, but it's definitely in the fall.
Oh.
But they're looking pretty good.
They are.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so now we just need some tomatoes and eggplant. All right, look at all of these gorgeous eggplants. Oh, they're so good. But I think I'm going to take this one because he looks absolutely perfect.
That's a great one.
Look at him. He's beautiful. Nice and firm.
Right?
That's going to be perfect for the pasta.
Yum.
All right, let's get some tomatoes. Okay, so we're going to pick these absolutely gorgeous tomatoes here. Look at them. They're so pretty. And I wish you could smell them because they just smell so good. Nice and fresh right off the vine. Perfect for the pasta. Look at these. Beautiful.
They look really good, right?
They really do.
Picture perfect.
They are. Ah. All right, let's continue picking. I'm getting a little bit of the fresh lemon basil that we'll use in the stuffed zucchini as well as in the pasta today. It just smells so good. I love the lemon basil. All right. All right, so now we're gonna start preparing the zucchini, the stuffed zucchini here. So we have the fresh cheese, we have breadcrumbs, we have the garlic, some tomato, we have fresh oregano and lemon basil and fresh thyme from the garden, and then we also have the fresh mozzarella balls. So we're gonna simply start by just putting this cheese in here. We already grated that up nicely.
That's the Parmesan, right?
Yes, the Parmesan cheese. I guess you could probably use Romano too if you wanted to, huh? But we're using Parmesan today. Then we're gonna probably use about half of this, would you say? All right. And as we said in a prior video, look at the difference between the breadcrumbs here. It's so fine, it's almost like sand. In the States, it's more of a thicker chunk, but here it's fine. All right. So we have that in there that we'll mix. Next, we're going to add the fresh herbs. So we're just gonna give a nice fine chop here. This is the oregano. I guess you could use dried oregano if you want. And the lemon thyme. We already washed all these already. Smells so good. That's the beauty of using fresh herbs. It just smells delicious. But if you can't get your hands on fresh, I guess you could probably use dried. All right. So put that in there. Now we'll work on the tomatoes. So again, with these, you're gonna want a finer chop just because they're gonna be going into the zucchini. I like these tomatoes because they're not too juicy. fresh mozzarella in there, it's already going to be adding a little bit of liquid to it.
I think those are the San Marzano Roma tomatoes.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even remember. Are those easy to get in the States?
Not fresh, canned. But a nice Roma or any diced tomato.
Yeah, I guess you can choose what you prefer.
This is really about whatever you have on hand.
Yeah.
Whatever herbs you have.
Exactly. You really can't go wrong. Whatever flavor profile really you like in there. You could probably even put mint in if you wanted, depending. That pairs nicely with lemon, thyme too, and basil. Okay. All right. Almost there. Okay. Alright, now I'll do a quick run through with the thyme. It's already pretty small. I destemmed it earlier. But I find just running your knife through it just kind of opens up all the flavors. Okay. Now, we're gonna use the garlic. I like to press it just because we don't want any big chunks of garlic in here. And again, depending on how garlicky you want it, you can do more or less. For those of you who don't like garlic, you won't use as much, obviously. But we're doing about 2.5 good sized cloves. These ones are small. And if you don't have a garlic press, you can just finely dice it. Again, whatever you have on hand, keep it simple. Okay. Now for the fun part. Mozzarella. So we'll probably take, we have these nice, beautiful, small mozzarella balls, so we'll probably use about 4 of them. If you have the larger ones, it would probably only be 2 large mozzarella balls. So we'll just shred that nicely in here. Or also you have the little pearl size mozzarella balls in the States too. You could use those as well. But they're just beautiful. I don't know if you can see, it's just inside, it's this nice buttery consistency. Oh, so good. Yum. So let's get that in there. Toss that all. Love this fresh mozzarella. Oh, so good. So we have 2 so far. All right, we'll do 2 more. I think that'll be a good ratio. And once we mix it, if we see we want more, we can add more. Okay, so we have the 4 balls in there now. So now we're just gonna add a little bit of salt. And then we'll add a little fresh ground black pepper here. Again, to taste. So if you like it more peppery, add more or less. All right, so now we're gonna just stir this together, mix it all up with the tomatoes, the herbs, the cheese. Get that all in here, a little bit of breadcrumb. And all of this is the stuffing for the zucchini. Perfect ratio, I think. What do you think? Look at that.
Yep, looks delicious.
Beautiful. All right, perfect. So now we'll stuff the zucchini. All right, so now we're gonna start preparing the zucchinis. So we're simply just gonna cut them in half lengthwise. And then you wanna scoop out a little bit of the interior, that way the stuffing can go in there nicely. Okay, now we're making progress here. We're getting there, we only have 1 more to go. These beautiful fresh zucchini from the garden. Yum. I just absolutely love zucchini.
I know you can prepare them in so many different ways.
I know, they just take on whatever flavor, it's great. And these aren't even seedy. Some of them can be really pulpy.
When you pick them young, they usually, well, at least the ones we grow here, not too seedy.
No, Probably if you were doing this with a summer squash, it would be a different story. But that's just beautiful. All right, almost there.
So I'll make a little nice nest for the cheese mixture.
A little bowl in there. All right, now we have that done. Now we will stuff them with the cheese mixture. Okay. Have that all nicely mixed. So now we'll just go in here. Let me make sure I have these alternated. That way they don't flip and roll. Okay. Nice little mixture with the tomato, the cheese, a little bit of breadcrumb. We'll put a little bit in all of them, and then we can go back in and put some more.
And if you wanted, you could have diced up the seed mixture from the center and added it to it.
Yeah.
But
we didn't today. You could put a little zucchini in the stuffing, you're right.
got lots of herbs in there.
Another thing we do sometimes is we salt the zucchini to get rid of the excess moisture, but these, they were not wet, so we didn't have to do that today. And it's okay to mound it on there because this is just gonna cook down, because you have to remember all these chunks are cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Get that nice and coated. So now we're just going back in, giving a little more stuffing here. Wherever you see a bald spot and want a little more. Again, there's no wrong here. No right or wrong. Beautiful. A little more pepper on top, because in this house we like pepper. All right, so now we are going to drizzle this with a little bit of our fresh olive oil. Yum, so good. And then this is gonna go in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna start the pasta dish, which is actually Mom's favorite pasta dish from Trapani. So Mom, why don't you come and assist? What is in this pasta dish? What are we doing today?
Well, what I like is when they serve it to you, they present it on a disc of fried eggplant. So we're gonna start that first, right?
Yeah, so what else is in this? So we have the eggplant base, but what's your favorite dish from over there?
Well, it's a twisted pasta with a fresh pesto, which is different because in Trapani they make it not with pine nuts, but with almonds. So it's a blanched almond, has a little tomato, and then basic pesto with the basil and Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, so it's different than your typical pesto.
It's nice and fresh and light, but the eggplant makes it rich.
Yeah, and instead of pine nuts, they use the almonds too, which adds a nice nutty flavor. But yeah, the eggplant underneath is the base, just, oh. So, as you can see, we're cutting them into little rounds, because then we're going to just be pan frying them.
And how thick, Victoria or Sarah, do we
About a
cut
quarter
them?
inch.
Not this thing.
Half a centimeter, quarter inch.
Okay.
So it's a nice crisp disc, but it's also got a little chew.
Yeah, because if you wanted it, I guess, crispier, you can make it thinner, but we like it with a little chew, a little bite to it. This eggplant from the garden is just beautiful.
Nice and fresh.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now that we have all of those discs nicely chopped, we're gonna get to pan searing them. All right, so now we're gonna start frying up the eggplant. So some people would typically salt the eggplant before they fry it to release some of the water from it, but I don't like to do that here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add some salt afterwards, kind of like you would to like French fries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just put these in. We have a little bit of cooking oil here. In the States, you probably use like a canola oil or a vegetable oil. Here they actually have a frying oil, which is actually sunflower oil. All right, we'll let those cook here. I don't know if you want to come closer so you can see here what's going on. So we have it on a medium-high heat. You want to get that nice sizzle. Just enough oil to just pan fry them a little here and cook them, because this is going to be the bed for the pasta.
Aww. Oh, looking beautiful decoration.
So as you can see now, they're nice and golden, which is perfect. They have a nice crisp to them, so that's why we just decided to flip them over, so they'll be cooking. And the other side usually cooks a little bit quicker than the first side, so keep an eye on them as they're cooking. Look how beautiful these are. All right, so we're gonna start by taking this one, because you can see it's nice and, I don't know if you can see, it's nice and golden. Perfect. All right, so what we're gonna do is the second we take it out of there, we're gonna just lightly salt it, because you wanna do it when it's still hot. All right, and we're putting on paper towel just in case there's any excess oil, but if you fry it properly, you'll notice that if the oil's hot, and you fry it nicely, you'll notice it will not leave a lot of oil residue. Okay. Look at these. They're so pretty. So like I said, the second side, or the other side usually fries up a little bit quicker than the first side.
Looks good.
They look delicious. He's almost there. He's almost there. All right, so now we're gonna start the pesto for the Trapanese pesto sauce. So for this, typically you would peel the tomatoes like Mom's doing right now. Why do you think that's important to do?
Well, I don't mind the skin in the pesto, but I guess it just makes for a smoother sauce. Because this is all just gonna be fresh, we're not cooking it. We're just going to macerate it a little bit.
Yeah, with my more pesto, yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily need to be. And usually for peeling a tomato, you need to kind of blanch them first, but these skins have been coming off beautifully. Yeah. So we're gonna start making the pesto sauce right now. So we have the garlic, we have almonds instead of the pine nuts. We have the fresh basil, the already chopped up tomatoes, and then we have the cheese, which we'll toss in all of the ingredients later. So at home, if you want, you can use this in a food processor. It would be easier for you, but we like to do it with this because it's just so much fun. All right, so we're gonna start with the almonds. We're gonna add a little bit here and just start mashing those up a little bit with the almonds, and then we'll add the garlic in there. These are nice, fresh, raw almonds.
I just blanched them so they're not stuck.
Thank you for blanching them. Okay, you can add a little more.
It's nice having another assistant.
I know, I'm not used to having an assistant.
But you could throw all of the ingredients into a small food processor at the same time.
Exactly.
This is the traditional way to prepare the Trapanese pesto.
Exactly. We're all about tradition.
Exactly.
But it's more fun. You can also get your aggression out. And also, if you decide to do it this way, you could give the almonds a rough chop first if you wanted to. All right, keep going.
Okay.
And then we'll add the other things. Okay, so we just finished with the almonds. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give this a rough chop with the garlic here, and then we will put that in there and we will get mixing it all together. Okay, so we'll put the garlic right in there with the almond.
You may throw in the basil, or you want to smash that?
I'll smash this for a couple of seconds first, and then we will add the basil right in there. gosh, this smells so good. The almond and the garlic. Mmm. It sounds like such an odd mixture, doesn't it,
I
Mom?
know, but I find this pesto a little bit nuttier than a typical pesto.
Mm.
Just
pine nuts are usually kind of nutty, but you're right, the almonds. Oh, look at that.
Well, the nice thing about the almonds is that they're native here.
Yes.
Well, and that's why the Trapanese pesto has them, because native over in that region where they have all of the almond pastries.
Mm-hmm.
So when the almonds are in season, think of some of the cool recipes besides this one we can make.
Yeah. Huh?
Don't tempt me.
I know. All right, so now we can add some of the basil here. Yum.
All of it?
In a second.
Okay.
Victoria, put some muscle into
I
that.
don't need to be rushing you. We're just hungry.
Let me just get this, and then we can. Okay, now if you want to drizzle some olive oil while I do the next little bit here. Perfect.
Television.
I know. All right, one thing I'm gonna do. All right, so now we have the basil nice and emulsified in here, as you can see. Look at that, it smells so good. So you still want some chunks of both the almond and the garlic and some chunks of the basil, but you want it mostly mixed in there. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding the tomato. We're just gonna do a little bit. And again, with this, you still want it mostly chunky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we're just gonna mix in the pesto mixture with the cheese.
Perfect.
And once we mix this a little bit, I'll add a little bit of olive oil too. But, oh, I know I say this all the time, but I really wish we had smell-o-vision, because this just smells so good. The combination of the garlic, the tomato, the almond. Oh man, it's just so good with the basil.
I'm gonna get a little bit closer, Victoria, so they can see.
All right. Now, again, this does not look like a typical pesto, does it? That you think of when you think pesto.
You think green.
You think green, but no, this is usually just a lot of tomato, basil, almond. It's like a red pesto. And again, you don't cook this at all. You put this over the fresh pasta while the pasta's hot, but this is just room temperature. You don't cook this at all. Look at that. All right, we're done. Okay, so now we're gonna cook this beautiful pasta. I know it looks strange, it's beautiful fresh pasta, but this is a typical Trapanese shape pasta. So it's really fun to make. Actually, when you make these, you just do a strip and then you go down with a fork and you just, and it twirls. It's really fun to do, actually. But I didn't make these myself. I got these fresh pasta today.
Oh, I was gonna say you should show us how to make them.
I know, I should next time, but not today.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna just put this in. It's already salted. This water's already salted. So just gonna put this in and finish cooking, and then we'll show you as it's done.
What's interesting though is the reason why it's shaped like this, the pasta, is that the sauce of the fresh pesto gets caught in the grooves, and so
in the curls.
And so with every bite you get that fresh pesto with your pasta.
Really good. All right. All right, so we just finished preparing. We have here the typical Trapanese pesto with the nice fried eggplant, nice and crispy underneath, delicious. Again, I wish you could smell this. And then here we have the stuffed zucchini that we did. Oh, look at that, doesn't that look good?
It looks so good.
I know, and down below, we'll also be posting the recipes for you so you can see what we did. Even though you just watched it, we'll give you the ingredient list and we'll tell you how we did it. All right, so what do you think, Dad?
I think we should enjoy eating this right now.
I think we're gonna eat it while it's hot.
Exactly.
All right, so we'll say ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.